And we'll bring our engineer up to talk about our sewer is combined, and that's why we need the money to separate our sewers. And then we're gonna go to a couple questions. The point he made about our sewer system and what we have to do to make sure this doesn't happen again is what we're getting the money for, what we're asking the government for, and what we've already getting. So Ken, real quick, and then we'll go to 2 more questions.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. On September 17th, we'll go to the first slide here. On September 17th, that day, our staff, our city engineer, were getting calls from the city saying we had a problem, a major problem was happening. You all were experiencing it. For those of us who don't live here, it was hard to believe because we were not getting the rain like that. But the truth was the city was getting inundated with water. The last couple of days you've heard about New York City. The world has been hearing about New York City. New York City got 7 inches of rain over 24 hours. We got 11 inches of rain in a few hours. The system simply couldn't handle it. But the mayor said we got to do something. So we needed a response plan. And the mayor said to us at Farnsworth Group, I'm a representative of a civil engineering firm that represents and works with the city. He said, we need a response plan. We need it in 48 hours. He told me that on Sunday. On Monday morning, he checked with me again. He was with the governor. He said, we need help. I need a response plan. So we started working on that. Let's go to the next slide. That area in white, this is from the National Weather Service. That area in white is hovered over Calumet City. It touches on Burnham, it touches on Dalton, West Hammond. That center of that storm is Calumet City. The reason why we've had this prolonged problem about getting the disaster relief and getting a declaration is because the state and the federal government, FEMA, uses counties. And most of Cook County is not affected the way you are. So that's been our problem. But again, the mayor said we need to do something, so we're here to talk about this plan. Let's go to the next slide. We came up with 4 steps that we would focus on. The first 2 are going to be immediate. The first one is that we need, this week, we're going to be getting bids out for companies to come out and immediately clean those areas of the sewer system that are clogged. The reason they're clogged right now, and we'll talk about the decay of the infrastructure you've heard about, but the reason they're clogged now is there's so much sand, there's so much silt going into them, so much trash going into them. We need to have them cleaned. So we've been identifying those sewer lines, those streets that you live on, those alleys that you know of that where the water is not draining, and find out about how we can clean those sewers. And we're going to go to the council this week with a plan to be able to get those sewers cleaned out. That's immediate. Let's go to the next slide. Well, I'm sorry, go back to the first slide. This is addressing what Mike was talking about from Calumet City Plumbing. We have 4 stormwater relief system ponds, and we have pumping systems that are able to take the water, the excess water out of the combined sewers, and pump them into relief storage or get them into the deep tunnel. The deep tunnel system of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation System District, this that you've heard about, and the quarry that's our neighbor in Thornton, we're only at about 20% capacity. There was no overflow of air. The city has no relief valves. It has no gates to be able to let water out. We have to pump it out. All of those pumps worked. The system worked. However, in the last 2 weeks, we've been on the phone with FEMA, we've been on the phone with the MWRD and with the U.S. Army Corps to find out how we can improve our pumping system. And we are going to the city council and we're going to ask for some money out of that infrastructure money that the mayor's talking about to be able to improve the system. Better pumps, bigger pumps, backup power, and then the sort of systems that we can have with computers to be able to tell us where any problems occur and be able to address them quickly. So we want to improve that. Number 2, let's go to number 2. Again, we want to have the trucks out. You'll be seeing them. There's going to be cleaning up these sewer lines that are clogged as a result of September 17th. Let's go to slide number 3. The city's infrastructure is built around, most of the city is combined sewers. That means that the sanitation from your home also has to take in the stormwater. The fact is that September 17th, as the mayor points out, a 500-year event, nobody could have handled that. We designed new sewer systems for new communities for 10-year events. But the truth is that all of you have experienced, as I've been hearing, all of you have experienced chronic flooding for too long. And when the mayor came in office, he went to the city council, and with their support, we identified that the number one problem in the city were the sewers. We think that maybe only 30% were working effectively and efficiently. So the mayor said council and the mayor started working on finding a way to get the money to do this help. How do we determine the help? Well, we had to figure out where the problems are, right? How do we solve them? So the council worked to get a bond for $10 million. This next month in October, you will see trucks out, and we will start cleaning and then televising these sewers. And why do we want to televise them? Why do we want to get pictures? Because that's going to tell us where the problems are and how do we fix them. But the infrastructure here has been neglected for decades by previous administrations. And I'm thankful for these gentlemen and these leaders who have said, we're going to change that around. But it took a lot of time to get this money, and we'll talk about the mayor's plan. So we want to get those pictures out. Now, what are we going to do with those pictures? The state of Illinois has a program through the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, and the federal government backs up this program. It's called the State Revolving Loan Fund. Communities like Calumet City can borrow money at a rate from 1% to 1.34% of low-interest loans over 30 years to rehabilitate or to replace the sewers. We believe that this information from the $10 million sewer assessment program will lead probably to $100 million of low-interest loans that we can apply for from the state. And the good news is that because Calumet City is considered a hardship community, a lot of you obviously don't have a lot of money, you don't make a lot of income, we can qualify to get those loans forgiven. We need to pursue that. And the mayor is dead set on the fact that we've got to go after that money, but we've got to show where the problems are. The state just doesn't give out money unless you can show that. Number 4, how can we become more resilient? How can we deal with these problems more effectively? Well, we know we've got to fix the sewers, but there's other things we can do as well. The first thing is that the mayor and the council, for the first time in the city's history, is making a plan to pave the 50 miles of gravel alleys in this community. No other mayor has ever attempted this. The council and the mayor have allocated money to provide the engineering to design the system, and the MWRD said we'll pay for it. So we've started a program, and we've, along with our staff, we're developing plans that every ward will get some alleys improved. And these alleys are improved in a way, as you can see right down the middle, those permeable pavers allow for the water, the storm water, to go down into the ground. And you see that sewer inlet right there? The goal is to keep water from not going into there. So we can do that with the alleys. The second thing is we have a number of vacant lots. In the 5th Ward, we have a lot of vacant lots, right? What can we do to take some of those lots and create detention ponds and rain gardens, a way to collect that water? And then finally, maybe there's a way that we can separate the sewers. To do that, we need some proof, we need some studies. And right now, the mayor and our office talking to the U.S. Army Corps, and they're committed to giving money into spending probably $1 million to study ways in which we can separate effectively so that we don't have all of that water going into your sanitation system, which is causing the backups. If we separate the sewers, that can be a difference. So the mayor has said, let's go after this, and you've been on the phone constantly, I know, with Washington, with Senator Durbin, Duckworth, Congressman Kelly, to try to find that money.
Talk about the catch basins and the alleys, how they're not connected to.
Right. The mayor is pointing out that some of the catch basins and the sewers are not working effectively. They're not hooked up to the sewer system effectively. They're not collecting the water. A number of you have alleys that when it floods, you've got water sitting in that alley forever. It looks terrible. Looks like the third. That's not acceptable. The mayor and the council say that's not acceptable anymore. The technology is there. We have people who want to have agencies. Let's go after that. Finally, I want to show you a little bit about the mayor's plan. He's talked about $100 million. Let's go to the next slide. It's actually, in the last 2 weeks, we've got $110 million, right? We've gotten more money. We want to break that down for you. This money that we're talking about, it's taken 2 years to get, but we've gotten it. These are all committed monies. The first one is $35 million that the council and the mayor arranged to borrow at the best interest rate they could to fix infrastructure. That money is where we're going to start figuring out where the problems are with your sewers. The second category is our Lead Clear, Lead Safe program. Some of you have heard about lead service lines. You have water, a good part of Calumet City has your water coming in from Lake Michigan is going through lines that are made out of lead. That was very acceptable for 100 years in Chicago, but we know now that there are dangers to that. And we have a program under the city to replace those lead service lines. The goal is to replace 2,000 lead service lines with a $20 million commitment from the Illinois Department of Environmental Protection. So we're working on that right now. We have a couple of folks in the back here, Tanette, Roberto. We're here to help you. If you live in the 6th Ward, we want to help you get information how you can get your lead service line replaced. The whole city is going to experience this program. We want to be able to help you. Again, that's a new program under this administration and the council. Number 3, $20 million in federal funding to fix and repair commercial corridors. That's Burnham, that's River Oaks Drive, that's Dalton and State, and that is Pulaski Road. We've got a variety of different plans there, but the goal there is to make them safer, to make them more attractive for businesses, and to make them more safer for people to walk those streets and ride bikes. That's all in federal money. That doesn't cost the city anything. The next one is $10 million in Rebuild Illinois capital funding. Some of you heard about Rebuild Illinois. The governor put together a $45 billion plan to rebuild Illinois. Through the mayor's leadership in Springfield, we were able to get $10 million plus for a variety of programs. All of them are going to infrastructure, a number of them to fix pumps and improve pumps, make them more resilient for the streets, for the sewers, and for improving our water distribution, improving the way we get our drinking water. The next one is $15 million. On the south side of the city, we have residents who live in a floodplain. Most of you don't live in the floodplain, but we have residents along the river who do. That levee has been decayed. We've had administrations that have ignored that. The mayor worked to get $15 million along with the Village of Lansing for the U.S. Army Corps, federal money for that levee to be rebuilt, to make it larger, taller, and to acquire the land so we can maintain it. And then finally, there is no other city in Cook County outside of Chicago that has gained the competitive grants like Calumet City has. And that is a real testament to the mayor's staff. It's an incredible group of people that we work with. And we have over $10 million from the County of Cook, from Illinois and from federal government that we competed for to be able to fix infrastructure. And those programs are all going to be happening in the next 2 to 3 years. This won't happen overnight. I wish we could fix things overnight, but this mayor was committed and the council was committed. Let's start fixing things. And we're excited about this opportunity. I appreciate all the effort and hard work to go after this funding because it doesn't happen otherwise. But of this money, $110 million, $75 million are all coming from other sources and not from your tax money.